Collins, and I am an Army Reserve Family Programs Training Specialist. I am contract staff, and I work for Choctaw Contracting Services. Is everybody kind of excited about being here at a Yellow Ribbon? Yeah, I can see all the excitement. I don't know what it feels like to have a family member to deploy, or a significant other, or a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, or a partner, or a mom, or a dad, or a cousin. But I do know what it feels like to have a friend to deploy. I do know what it feels like to have one of your best friends to deploy. So I know a little bit of what you're experiencing. I can see and feel some of the challenges as you sit there and think, what in the world? It's a sense of pride and fear and anticipation and anxiety all rolled up together. So I want to tell you that I am honored to be here today. I am honored that you have allowed me into your space to give you this information. I am thrilled to have the opportunity to touch you where you are now. And I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to give me feedback. I encourage you to participate, because I don't know it all. You all know it all. So how many moms do I have in the audience? How many of you are moms of soldiers who are getting ready to deploy? Everybody give them a round of applause. How many dads do I have? How many dads? Any dads? All righty then. Spouses, husbands and wives, both raise your hand. Yippee! Grandmas? Any grandmas in here? No grandmas? Girlfriends, boyfriends, significant others? How many best friends? Best friend. That is a hard walk. I mean, you know, parents, girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives, kids, we know how difficult it is, but sometimes we forget. When you lose the person that you talk to every day, that is your movie partner, that is your shopping partner, that is your, this is a secret, don't you ever tell anybody else partner, that is a difficult one. And so we honor you today. So why am I here? Why am I here? I'm here to talk to you just for a few minutes about a communication plan. And to start that, I would like us to participate in a very quick activity. I am going to give you something for you to read. Don't show anybody else. Just read it as many times as you can possibly read it until I tell you to stop reading it. I am going to do the very same thing over here. I am going to give you something to read. You read it for as many times, do not show anybody, as you possibly can read it until I tell you to stop reading it. Continue to read it. And stop. Turn it over. What I would like you now to do is to pass that information on verbatim. Verbatim, what does that mean? Word for word. To the next person sitting beside you. And then next person, I want you to tell that very thing verbatim to the next person, and you to the next person, till it gets to the end of your row or your table. So let's begin. Did everybody get a chance to do that? It's passed down your row or your table. Last person, if you don't mind, please stand up and tell us what you were told, or at least what you thought you were told. Okay. And your name, sir?
Steve.
And Steve, are you the father, the parent, the husband, the partner of a soldier? What is your role here today?
I am the husband and best friend.
Oh, the husband and best friend. Wow. And so what did you hear, husband and best friend?
We're going to develop a communications plan based on many things.
Based on many things. Thank you so much. I got what you heard. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to tell us what you heard?
We are going to discuss the communication plan based on the family's needs.
Based on the family's needs. Well, thank you. And your name?
Marlene.
Marlene, and you are here with your soldier as a mom, wife.
I'm here.
So are you the soldier? You are the soldier deploying. Thank you so much for your service and for sharing with us today. This table, would you all like to share? What did you hear?
We heard that we were completing a family communications plan, and that's what I heard.
And that's what you heard. Would somebody who originated the conversation, the sentence, the statement, care to stand up? Because everybody started off with the same message. And what was it?
We will discuss the importance of developing a communication plan based on available communication methods and individual family members' needs and goals.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Did any table get all of that at the end?
Unrealistic.
You what?
It's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. Why was that unrealistic?
Too much fluff.
Too much fluff. Too much fluff. It was too many words. And then by the time it got from one person to the next person to the next person, it was kind of distorted. We assumed that we all knew, but at the end, did we kind of get close to where we wanted to go?
We knew we wanted a communication plan.
We knew we wanted a communication plan. And you know what? Basically, when you walk out of here, that is what I want you to have. And I'm gonna say a whole bunch of words to get us there, but at the end of this training session, really, my goal is for you to be able to go home and have a communication plan, because communication is important. I studied your ability to communicate well because I gave her very few minutes, you know, all of you a very few minutes to really focus on that paper. And then I didn't tell you that you were going to have to pass it on. I didn't give you all the details that you needed so that you might be able to communicate well. So in translation, some things got missing. And one of the things I want you to be able to do is have a complete plan. When your soldier gets ready to deploy, whether that soldier is your spouse or your partner or your grandchild or your mom or your dad, whoever that soldier is to you, that you all have talked about it. You shared it. You've seen the complete picture of how you all are going to communicate together. So our goal, we're going to talk about communication during deployment. How many of you realize that you really already have a communication plan? How many of you know that? Before you even before deployment, it sounds like a strange thing, a communication plan. Ooh, you just talk, you just share, you just call each other. How many of you know you have a communication plan? And I'm the mother of a soldier. This is the way I say do it, and she does it. That's our communication plan. That's how it works at our house. We already kind of have a plan that we use. I travel a lot for business. My communication plan with my sister, because she's the closest to me and my family, is every evening we talk. But if she does not hear from me every day while I'm gone, she already knows I'm okay. But when I'm at home and she's at home, she calls me every evening when she's leaving work. That's our communication plan. So by 8:30 in the evening or 9 o'clock in the evening, because sometimes she works late, if I don't hear from her, I'm calling her, because obviously something's gone wrong. That's our communication plan. I talk to my mom once every 2 or 3 days. That's our communication plan. That I know if my phone rings today, during this session, something is either wrong, because I tell my family I'm traveling, the only time I'm available to talk is in the evenings. We all have that. Some of you talk to your spouses during lunch every day. That's your communication plan. Some of you around the dinner table, that's where you share what we've done. That's your communication plan. We're not asking you to do anything that you don't already do. But what you now need to do is think about it a little differently when you're separated by a conflict, by the water, and all of this geography. How does that now look? So what do you think some challenges are to communicating while your soldier is going to be deployed? What might be some challenges?
Can't just call them up on my cell phone.
Can't just call them up on your cell phone. That is a challenge. If your communication has been that when I need him or her, I just ring them up, that's going to be a challenge. What else might be a challenge?
Time zone.
The time difference.
Yeah.
So 6 hours ahead, 8 hours behind. It is a challenge to coordinate schedules because in the meantime, the rest of your life is going on, the rest of his or her life is going on. What else might be a challenge?
We're not face to face, so you lose that body language.
So when they say, I'm okay, and you see them and they're, I'm okay. You know what that I'm okay versus I'm okay. You don't get that. So now you have to rely on something else. You're listening very closely for what? The inflection in the voice, the tone of the voice, even the volume of the voice. So learning to read new cues. What else might be a challenge? They don't belong to me anymore.
I'm like, you have to go, you know, the military says I have to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So if somebody else, your communication plan has been, do what I say. I say it, you do it. Now they can say, well, no. The Army says, the Army Reserve says I've got to do, and these are the folks I now need to listen to. Yes. Connection, complications, and consistency. Do the systems always work the way we want them to work, when we want them to work? Things go down. Sometimes on purpose. Sometimes they just went down. So there are some challenges, and so that's why we now need to create a, how does this now look? Because every family member, some of you spoke from a mom's perspective, some of you spoke from the best friend's perspective, some of you spoke from the kid's perspective. Every family member is going to have a different kind of challenge when it comes to how they're going to communicate. The soldier, or the service member, he or she, first and foremost, they've got to withdraw just a little bit. Even now, even before they go, because now they're mission focused. They've got to get ready for this mission. They've got to connect with their battle buddies. And they're as concerned as you are about how you're going to stay connected. That is in the back of their mind. So while they're mission focused, they too are concerned about how they're going to stay connected to you. And what's going to happen when I leave? Who's going to take on everything that I've been doing? Are they okay? And you know that concern, worried about our family left behind, is the reason you all are sitting in this room. Because the Army Reserve, the Department of Defense, the people who are in charge understand that that's a concern of soldiers. So what they want to do is hand you as much information as they possibly can to mitigate that thing of that soldier. Because now they know, oh, we have a plan. Oh, they know what the JAG can do for them. Oh, they know how to use our medical. So we're trying to alleviate some of that because we understand that soldiers and service members have that worry. And finally, what's going to happen when I come home? Are things going to be the same? How will I fit back in? That's in the back of their head, and it will color the communication that they have with the family. Many of the same concerns that the soldier or the service member has, the loved ones have. They're back at home thinking, is my soldier okay? Will he or she be okay? Are they safe? What will it be like when they come back home? I'm continuing, or at least trying to continue, things as normal. Am I doing a good job with that? How am I going to overcome some of the challenges? When we face them as a family, I know that's the service members thing. I can no longer say that's the service members thing. That now becomes my thing, and it colors how I respond and communicate. I know I have some kids in the room. You raised your hand. You said, I'm the child of. I know I have some moms and some dads in the room, so there's some kids somewhere. They have their own set of concerns. And oftentimes, we forget about them. They're worried. They're anxious. They have questions. They're looking for information. And oftentimes, we either think, oh, they're too young to really understand. Oh, they won't know the difference. Oh, they couldn't possibly be worried about that. And they do understand that there's something different. No matter how young they are, they do have questions or concerns. Those of you who are parents and have deployed before with kids, what are some of the things that the children were worried about, or some of the things that you noticed with the kids? Yes.
They get clingy,
They get clingy.
they get whiny.
And whiny.
And
I'm the
whiny.
bad guy.
And you're the
If daddy were here.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Because you have to be everything. You have to discipline and love and support, and then they feel like, well, you're here and dad's not. It's your fault. Yes.
My teenager always acts out in school.
Acts out in school because they don't necessarily have the words to articulate that I'm sad, I'm anxious, I'm angry. They don't use those words. They show in action by acting out in school. Yes.
Yeah, my mom told me that when I was deployed, my oldest son intensely watched news. More so than a child his age would watch it to find out what's going on.
Trying to understand what is going on. As we have this conversation, I want you to keep in the back of your head that there are families just like you who are experiencing some of the same concerns, questions, or issues that these family members that we have talked about. And the Duncan family comes to mind. They are a family, like many families who are experiencing a deployment. Mom and dad have their set of issues, their set of concerns, their set of how are we going to fulfill these needs, how are we going to take care of everything while the kids are deployed. And the children are also concerned and acting out and asking questions and trying to understand what this new norm is going to look like. So as you have the conversation about yourself, we want you to understand that you're not alone. That it is normal and natural, like the Duncans, to have these kinds of concerns about how you're going to stay connected as a family. So the Duncans are having that same conversation. How are we going to stay connected as a family? How are we going to convince the kids it's going to be okay? How are we going to have these conversations about what's going on? Communication is the way that they stay connected. So what are the options for communication? What are some of the things, some of the ways that we now have with the growing technology, with the things that we have available now? What can you do to stay connected?
FaceTime.
FaceTime. So what, for those of us who are not as technologically savvy, what is FaceTime?
It's Apple device to Apple device, and you can video and see their little face.
Apple device to Apple device. I ain't gonna talk about it. I'm an Android fan. But it is a way that you and you get to see the person, because I heard.
Everybody has a similar one.
Yes, thank you. you get to see the person, you get to see the face, you get to see whether or not they're okay. What else do we have?
Skype,
Skype. And so what is Skype?
same thing as FaceTime, except for computer to computer.
Computer to computer. So now you're on a computer, you get to see each other, you get to hear each other. Yes, what else do we have available?
Viber.
Viber, explain that one.
Viber is Android to Android or computer to computer, and you can make, as long as you're near Wi-Fi, you can make phone calls to each other, and you can text message, and you can actually work a lot like Skype. However, it must be loaded on the deploying person's phone before they leave the States.
Okay, so it is a app or something that you can use, much like Skype, much like, but caveat is, load it up first before he or she deploys. Viber, correct?
Viber.
Viber. V-I-B-E.
Bravo Echo Romeo.
Good for you, look at you with the alphabet.
Bravo, what?
Echo.
Echo.
But they're mentioning Skype and all of that, which happens on the phone. but
That's
just
it,
having that
B-E-R,
cell phone
Viber.
changes the level of communication, it makes it more, phone, like being able to leave a text message and then call back when they get versus having to just wait.
Oh my goodness, so she said that the option of being able to send that text message and with an understanding that they may not be able to respond now, but they can respond later. What other options do we have?
I used, on one of my deployments, Text Now.
Text Now, and that is Text Now.
Text Now, you can send text messages to the other person, you can call them at a very minor charge. I don't think you could do face-to-face visuals, but you can call them and you can send text messages.
Call and send text messages.
There's a really neat app that you can, there's several of them actually, that you can download to your phone. And what they'll do is they'll actually take pictures that you've taken on your phone and put them into a small book. And so it can be up to 20 photographs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would have one of those made about every other week for my mom to see what was going on with the grandbabies. And I thought, what a great way to do this for my loved one who's deploying. So, you know, maybe once or twice a week, they would have some sort of photographic giggle to go with, you know, hey, this is what's going on in the week of. You know, and it could be, you know, the kid running the bases at the softball game and the other kid falling off the trampoline and giggling because, you know, whatever. So, yeah.
A book of pictures,
Uh-huh.
of memories that they get to share in, not 9 months later when they come home necessarily, not in 6 months, but right now you get to make that book and send it to them, and they feel like they can be a part of the action, which kind of leads us to our next thing, because technology is great. We have come a long way since my best friend deployed. We had Skype, but I didn't know how to use it that good. And then when it would come in, it was when he deployed. Yeah, that's how, you know, the picture was jumping and everything. So we relied, and with the time difference, so it would be 3 in the morning, and okay, but you know, you're trying to say, are you asleep? No, I never sleep at 3 in the morning. I'm always awake now. This is my
get your call.
this is my wake time now. So, you know, those kinds of, we didn't have some of the same, they didn't have as much freedom to use technology as they do now. But we cannot forget old tried and true letters and care packages. There was just something about receiving something in the mail. Don't forget that. Yes, use Skype. Yes, send pictures via Instagram, and, you know, keep them a part of your Twitter, and, you know, you're tweeting about what's going on. And yes, do use FaceTime. Don't forget to send them a letter.
I would imagine that writing a letter is going to be a little calmer, perhaps, for the military member that's deployed, Because if I'm on the phone and I'm Skyping or I'm FaceTiming or whatever, and I've just had a really rotten day, all of a sudden, those plumbing problems and the issue with the flat tire and all of those things are gonna be coming across, and all of those things are gonna be communicated to the military member who can't do anything about it. And so, you know, a letter just, you have to take some time to write this.
Yes, and even with your emails, we didn't necessarily say emails, but one of the things that I always recommend that people do, I have done it and messed it up, is when you write that email, back up off it for a little bit, a while. Just let it sit in your outbox or, you know, in your draft, not out, but in your draft. And then come back to it and make sure when you read it with new eyes, with fresh eyes, with a different perspective a little later in the day when things have calmed down or whatever it is, you take another look at it, because email can come off real wrong. Yes.
Well, I'd say another thing too about the letters and care packages is that it can be unexpected and then you can take it with you.
Yeah. So the book that they get, you can have that with you. The picture that you put in there, the letter can be folded up. Yes.
So, I know she really enjoyed it and still has it now. During Thanksgiving, we set up a table for the family members, so when we were all together and she wasn't there, when they mentioned something or said something, it was actually drawn. One of the kids drew something in relation to that, and she didn't know that that package was coming. So it was just a bunch of scripts of paper with different things and saying, it kind of made her feel like she was there
A
with
part.
us in it.
Yes, I have had the experience. As anybody, you know, the big project that the kid was working on and they got an A on, you send it to them so they can see it. Here's that paper that they spent the whole semester writing. Here's the A. Put it in the mail so mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or brother or sister can see that work. I saw some hands.
I just can't express how special you feel when you get a letter in the mail, when you're waiting for mail time to occur when you're overseas, you know, and it just felt so good. So I would want to emphasize for the group, don't just rely on emails like I do normally. The letter, the handwritten letter is so special.
It is.
And just because I ran into this, Sarah, the first time she deployed was in a fairly small unit of very young people, and not everybody had family who did write to them. So we started as teachers getting together every 2 weeks, and each teacher wrote to 2 or 3 soldiers, and I mailed them all, so everybody got mail.
Oh, that's
awesome.
wonderful. You don't know me that well, but one of the things I am is completely honest. I messed this all up. Had one of the biggest fights with the person that was deployed because I'm not a mail person. I personally, they stopped delivering my mail at one point because I never got it out of the box. I'll have cards that I buy and I never mail it. And I did that. And I would have good intention. I bought boxes of all kind of care packaging stuff, and I never sent. And he said, you know, I'm one of the few people that don't get anything. And it's not that I didn't have good intentions of sending it. It just wasn't. So don't be me. Because we went at it. I called you every day, and I took the calls at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm
crying about
keeping your dogs, and you know I ain't a dog person, and all that was negated because I bought the card but didn't send it. I bought the cookies but didn't put them in the mail. They are looking for that. They need those tangible things from you all. So we're talking about the pros and the cons of each of them. We've covered the phone and online communications. It's good for that real time, right now communication. However, there are certain things you need to remember that you shouldn't be saying over the phone. There are certain things you don't need to be sending over the email. And there are certain things that your service member won't be able to say. And you need to be able to accept that because of security reasons and those kinds of things. Sometimes that you feel like they've got 5 minutes to talk to you, and they're rushing to do it, and you feel like, wow, he or she does not care. So that could be a challenge as well. Talked about all of those kinds of things. So The Duncans, remember I talked to you that this family, there's another family experiencing these things just like you. So they have determined of all the things, they went through all the pros and cons as a family, and here is what they've decided that they're going to do. We're gonna have 30-minute phone calls. We're gonna email and Skype. I'm gonna get letters from the children. And he said, the service member said, and what I'll agree to do is write at least one a week back, understanding the time constraints, understanding the concerns of all the responsibilities he or she has. I understand not only was it important for them to send me letters, service member said it is important for me to return the favor to the kids because they need to get something from mom or dad or grandma or brother or sister. And we will do the communication via other sources. All of the options that we've talked about. Remember at the beginning, we passed the send us along. Remind me what the sentence said we were gonna do, Ms. Smith? Anybody who had it, what did the sentence say?
We will discuss the importance of developing a communication plan based on available communication methods and individual family members' needs and goals.
Okay. So now I would like to take that one step further. I want you and your service member, who you're here with, to have a conversation about what is going to be the best way for us to communicate. What is going to be our communication battle rhythm? What is the expectations? And don't forget things like, what topics are we going to discuss? You know, I've heard family members say, I have agreed with my soldier, if there is nothing they can do about the situation, I won't share it. Because all it does is gives them stress. So is that a communication plan that you want to have? Or is it in your family, I don't care if I can do something about it or not, you tell me. What is your plan? So everybody goes into this thing with the same expectation. Based on my job, it's going to be very difficult for me to get care packages. If you as a service member know that, tell that to your family member. Think about right now in the next couple of minutes, what kinds of what is your plan going to look like? What topics are we going to discuss? How often? What do you already know about what you're going to be able to do, what the technology is where you're going to be? You don't know all the answers now, but you do know some of them. So take a few minutes and let's have that conversation. One or two people who are willing to share. What was a part, what about your communication plan? One thing that you're going to do. One thing that you put a part of your communication plan. Anybody? Just one, or a best practice that you've used in the past? Because some of you have deployed before. Yes?
Agree not to keep problems, because for our family, if I don't agree or make a promise to tell him what's going on, he worries that there's stuff he makes the problem bigger than it needs to be. Because we had the experience once where I did keep something from him, he found out, and now so I have to promise him, I will tell you immediately.
Okay, very good.
And he has to trust that promise.
Okay, so they have an agreement that we will share because she knows how problems grow in his head when he doesn't know. Yes?
We decided that if it was fire, flood, or blood, then we would share it. If it was anything other than that. In other words, if the house is falling down, yes. But if it's, you know, a leaky pipe or whatever that, you know, I can fix with a turn of a wrench,
There's
I'm
no
going
need
to share that.
Okay, all righty. So covering those topics of what is a good plan. If you haven't had a chance to copy these questions down, we didn't get to go into it in great detail, do that. You can also visit the Yellow Ribbon website, and there is a handout there that you can go and download so that you can have, because for some of us, it's not enough for us to just talk about it. I need a written plan. I'm one of those people. I need a written plan. I need to see what it is that we said we were going to do. And this handout will allow you the opportunity to do that. Or if you have a smartphone and you want to pull your smartphone out, take a picture of that. When you go back home, continue this conversation. You already have a communication plan. Whether it is calling your honey every day at lunch, whether it is you walk me outside to the car every day when I leave for work and we talk about what today's plans are gonna be, wherever it is, you call me on your way home from work every evening, you already have a communication plan. What we now want you to think about is how that plan is going to look when that soldier, when your loved one is miles and miles away, and how you alleviate some of your worries and stay connected as a family. My name is Rhonda Collins. It has been my honor and pleasure to be here with you today. If you have additional questions or concerns that I can address, I'll be in the back of the room. Have a great rest of the yellow ribbon.